So I measured a bunch of temperatures originally. Let me go back to that circuit board. The green light means that the oh, the red light just went on. No, the red light just went off again. Okay. The green light means that there is no connection between the ice and the sensor, so it is still, the ice thickness is still building up. Okay, the water is stopped. That means that the ice bridge, or rather, sorry, the ice sensor, this thing right here, this metal part, has contacted the ice. So that stops the freezing cycle and starts the harvest cycle. The compressor reverses, which warms up the ice matrix so that the ice will fall out of the matrix and into the bin. Let's take a look at the lights again. Okay, green light and red light, all good. Can't remember what I said before about the lights, but the green light means that oh, there it goes. Hold on. Up there it's going again. The green light means that the bin switch, this part right here, is closed. If it was open, the green light would go out. The red light going on means that the switch right here that tells you that the ice is ready has made a connection. Now, of course, when the ice fills up in the bin, the bin switch here, ice will fall out of the matrix, but it will kind of hit the mound of ice that's right here, and the bin switch will partially open, but then it won't close because the ice will be kind of stuck right here. That's how the ice machine stops when it's reached capacity. Then the ice melts, and whatever ice is here will fall down, the bin switch will go back up, and then the freezing cycle starts again. I'm going to continue taking this video at this point to see how long it takes between the cycles where the ice drops down into the bin. Yeah, I'd gotten the designations of what the lights did wrong before. The reason the red light was flashing earlier was because the ice was contacting and then not contacting the ice bridge thickness contact, which is again this thing right here, that piece of metal. Alrighty. Again, green light is on. That means the bin switch is closed. Again, the bin switch is this thing right here. And temperature outside right now, it's about 65 degrees, I think. And the ice matrix was showing 31 degrees, I think, previously, and that's because it was just the thermometer was just bouncing off the ice. I'm going to take it again now because now we can bounce it off the actual metal part of the matrix itself. All right, still 31 degrees, less than 30 degrees, 28 degrees. That is right. That means that everything is working. There's enough coolant so that it's getting cold enough. Of course, this ice machine is meant for inside a structure, so the ambient temperature won't be in the low 60s. It'll be in the high 60s or the low 70s, so it will take a little longer than it takes here for the ice to cycle. But not much, because the ice matrix is powerful enough that it's going to get cold enough that it really doesn't matter, plus or minus 10 degrees. Obviously, if it was 120 degrees, then yeah, this thing might not work at all, so it's all relative. Yeah, some people might, have their ice machine outside in the middle of the summer next to their picnic table and wonder why their ice machine is not working. Well, yeah. The machine can only do so much. It's the same as an air conditioner. If it's 120 degrees outside, yeah, the inside of your car is not going to get down to 60 degrees. An air conditioner can only lower the temperature so much. And the same with this ice machine. It can only create ice if the ambient temperature is low enough. Thank you. I'll be here all week. Twice on Saturday night. Well, hopefully not. I don't want to wait that long for this ice to form. There is a little bit of ice forming. Not so much on the top row, but more on the bottom. So I guess it forms on the bottom before it forms on the top, and that's good. It makes sense in the context of, physics and stuff like that. And your ice is going to be thick enough because the ice bridge is 3/5 of the way from the bottom. So you're going to get cubes that are a little thinner from the top of the matrix, and cubes that are a little thicker depth-wise that come from the bottom of the matrix. This ice machine was an under-counter mount, so when I received it, it didn't have any feet or wheels on it, as you can see. Now, this is the individual who installed it. There's a date somewhere here for that manufacturing date. There it is, 10/12/06. Here is the the instructions that the ice machine provides right here on the unit. There's the condenser. There's normally a panel here with a filter that covers up this area to keep the unit from getting dusty. There is the actual compressor right there. You can see some coils and stuff, and that's pretty much it. I mean, you got a little bit of electronics. Probably got a transformer back there, and then you have the compressor, the condenser. The cold part where the ice is forming is, of course, the evaporator. Easy way to remember the difference between a condenser and an evaporator is that when you sweat and the sweat evaporates in the sun, you get cooler. I used to be confused about the difference between the evaporator and the condenser for a long time until I came up with that not very clever mnemonic. Now you can see that the ice is starting to freeze over so that you cannot see the back. So you cannot, well, you can still see it because ice is transparent, but you wouldn't be able to touch the matrix anymore because it's completely filled over with ice almost, except for on the top row. The top row seems to be taking a little longer. Here is the pump that pumps the water from the tray to the top of the ice matrix right there. That little thing right there is the float that keeps the tray from overflowing. That right there is the valve where the water comes out. A note, when you're first setting this up, you want to hook up the water line first so that the tray fills up, so that when you plug it in and turn it on, the pump does not run dry. You don't want the pump to run dry. That is bad for water pumps. Let's do a temperature check here. 30 degrees is good enough to freeze. Ambient temperature, 61 degrees. Fascinating stuff. Watching paint dry, watching trees grow, watching ice freeze. Kind of the same thing. Okay, the red light is not flickering yet, so that means it's not even close to being thick enough. This is the ice machine itself. There's the drain hose, the electrical cord, and the water line with the adapter that I cobbled together from Home Depot so that I could just hook a regular water hose up to this ice machine to test it. It's got some information on the back here. Since we've already seen the ice drop, I'm going to point the camera at the board, circuit board with the lights, so we can see what the sequence of lights is at the end of the harvest cycle. So Sorry for the jittery camera on my hands and knees here, basically, so not able to hold it as steady as we would like. You can actually see the shaft of the water pump right here. It's moving pretty quickly. It's very smooth, so it doesn't hurt if you touch it. This unit also is filter compatible. It should have a filter on it. That way you keep all the stuff in municipal water that you don't want in your ice machine and in your ice, out of your ice machine and your ice. What does happen is you're going to have mildew buildup. You can see it out on the back part of the tank, as well as on the bottom of the pipe. That is adjacent to the water pump that pumps the water up to the top. Just this big white thing right here. So yeah, you do have to clean an ice machine every once in a while. I think this thing was never cleaned, and it was in service for 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, that would be 7 years. So I guess it's probably pretty clean for 7 years of making ice 24/7, 365. But yeah, still needs to be cleaned every once in a while. Oh, lordy. Alright, the ice on the bottom is getting pretty thick. It looks like it's almost ready. The top cells of the matrix are starting to fill in. It's going to be any minute now when this is going to drop. Just as a note, this unit is meant for an office of maybe 30 to 50 people, or a small restaurant. It's not meant for, you know, a big office or a medium or large size restaurant. And it's certainly not meant for, you know, an individual or a family, because it's running all the time. It takes up a lot of resources. The ice is constantly being made when it is being made. Of course, you know, it will stop eventually once it reaches capacity here in the bin. But, you know, then the ice melts and then it starts all over again. So it's always intermittently using energy, and there's always going to be water melting and going down the drain. So if you're an individual, it'd be best to just get a refrigerator with an ice machine built in, where the dispenser is in the front, where you can put it right into your glass or other container. The ice machine does have some built-in safety limit functions. If the ice machine's freeze time exceeds 60 minutes consecutively 3 times, it shuts down. Also, if the ice machine's harvest time exceeds 3.5 minutes consecutively 3 times, it also shuts down. All you have to do is power cycle it and it starts back up again. But you would be it'd probably be best to fix the problem. If it's taking longer than 60 minutes to freeze ice, you don't have enough coolant you don't have enough refrigerant in the system, or there's something else wrong. And if it takes longer than 3.5 minutes to harvest the ice, well, either your ice bridge thickness is set way too thick, and the thing is over icing, and it takes longer than 3.5 minutes to get the ice to fall off, or again, there's just not enough refrigerant to get the matrix warm enough for the ice to fall off into the bin. There's also a handy little grid right here of what light should be on and off, and what components should be on and off during the sequence of making the ice. This ice machine also has on the switch a clean cycle option. I would imagine that just flushes water through the system without having the compressor on. And of course, there are special cleaning solutions from Manitowoc that you can get to properly clean this ice machine. All right, any second now, this thing is going to drop. Is on long enough, it will switch into harvest mode. The compressor will reverse, warming up the matrix so that the ice can fall off. Even on the top now, the ice is pretty thick, as you can see. This style of ice is called dice ice. It is 2 by 2 by 2 centimeters cubed. Okay, that's the sound of the compressor reversing. The water stops. That gurgling sound is the air in the hose moving around because it's no longer pumping water. Both of the lights are off in the harvest mode. And then when ice falls, oh, now both of the lights are on. No, I was looking at the wrong thing. Okay, I was looking down here. It's up here. Yeah, both of the lights are still on. Obviously, the ice bridge, or rather the ice thickness thing is still connected to the ice, and the flapping thing is, I can't remember what it's called right now, but it is still in closed position. Watching the ice melt is kind of neat. You can see the thin layer of water that forms behind the ice, and it bubbles, and can't really see it too well in this camera, but it's kind of neat to look at. Okay, that was it, a complete ice making cycle for a Manitowoc QM45A dice type ice machine. So that we can start another ice cycle and make some ice. Once it gets cold enough, the ice machine will turn the water on, there it goes, and we start the process all over again. Alright. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.